The following video is brought to you by the guys at the Wrecking and Racing Podcast, a NASCAR podcast made by the fans for the fans. Check them out at www.wreckingandracing.com, facebook.com/wreckingandracing, and Twitter at Wrecking and Racing. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, Saki here, and welcome back to another episode of NASCAR Racing 2003 season, the 2019 mod, and we are here at the last race of the round of 8 at ISM Raceway, getting ready to take the green flag, and we are going, and Brandon is on the outside in that wreckingandracing.com podcast Toyota. We get a nice big hole shot on them going into turn 1, the old NASCAR turn 3, but Brandon gets that roll to the outside, and 32 wonderful laps around this reconfigured racetrack. This was off of NR Track Designs on Facebook. Wow, Brad, aggressive much getting into our rear bumper. But this was a design track by the NR Track Designs guys on Facebook, and this was made essentially for a league who decided to run their race at night. So I know this is supposed to be a day race, we agree, but I wasn't about to make this track from scratch like I did the Roval. We just stuck with what we got, and it worked. Sure, there's no one in the stands, and sure, it's at nighttime, but it is the reconfigured racetrack, and Brandon is looking to sweep this round of 8 with 3 straight wins. He got the win in Martinsville and Texas, and we were mathematically guaranteed in on points, so it really doesn't matter what we do today. We're in the round of 4, the championship 4, but it is a tight battle from 3rd on back through about 6th place. There's some guys that have a lot of room to move. Brad Keselowski needs a big run, and even bigger than that, Eric Almirola and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. basically need a win if they want to get into the championship 4 with me and Brandon. But we got Kevin Harvick to our outside, Denny Hamlin following suit, and Kyle Busch back there as well with Joey Logano, who is not in this round. But the track is very finicky. If you miss your turn 3 entry, the car washes out really bad. Brandon and I spent about 45 minutes with some setups just trying to get a feel for this track, and eventually we had something that was at least a little bit manageable, let's say. Definitely not fast, but Brandon is showing the way in front of Brad Keselowski in front of us, and we should not have to pit unless a caution comes out at about the halfway mark, and then we're going to take a look-see at what happens here. We'll get the run on Denny Hamlin in the dog leg, see if we can hold that bottom groove. You can go under the yellow line with your left side tires to sort of de-wedge the car a bit, get the car to pivot if the car is pushing through turns 1 and 2. Turn 3, you have to be very accurate right down to the bottom. Right there is where the grip is. If you are 1 car length above that entry, you will wash out, and it will be a slow lap, and it will be a bad time for everyone. So it's definitely about hitting your marks in turn 3 to be successful here. We're holding off on the top 10, almost the top 5 here. Geez, Kevin? Tell you, Kevin, even though he was eliminated in the first round of the playoffs, he's still pretty aggressive in that Jimmy John's Ford out there. Surrounded by Stuart Haas, we've got Eric Almirola in front of us, and we're catching Jimmy Johnson. And even though Jimmy is no longer in the playoffs either, he was eliminated after the round of 12. He's going for bragging rights, very much like the real Jimmy Johnson, trying to close out his year strong after a lackluster performance that we've seen out of Jimmy. And Brad is not catching up to Brandon. If anything, it looks like Brandon is pulling away a bit from Brad Keselowski. So we will attack Jimmy a little bit at a time, see if we can get to Brad, and see if we can reel in Brandon, but he is looking very strong going in to the final race next week at Miami-Dade Homestead Motorsport Speedway Racing Facility Complex and Tire and Lube Center. Next year, this will be the championship race here at Phoenix. Hopefully some track makers out there can make a track that's a little bit more forgiving. The AI here were not built to run, and it even said so on the post. This was made for an online racing league without AI cars. So the AI do some interesting things from time to time, but it's been clean and green so far. The race ticking away nice and easy. And you can see our water temperature starting to creep up, and when we get off of the gas, it creeps out of the danger zone. But as the race progresses and the engine keeps warming up, we might have an engine failure. And I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world, like I said. Even if we scored 0 points, we would still be in on points to go to the next round. So I'm not worried about a DNF here. But I needed a lot of tape on the nose to get this thing to turn, and I about maxed it out. I think I'm running like 75 or 80% grill tape right here, just trying to get the front end to pivot. It's all about hitting this turn 3 entry right here. If you're not like right here when you go into turn 3, you will wash up, and it is reflective on the AI cars as well. We noticed in practice, if any AI cars were up top in turn 3, they had a tough time getting off the corner as well. So it's not just us, but definitely we have our hands full. Brandon looks like he's setting sail here, just trying to do our best to maintain and see exactly what the AI decide to do. If we do have to get down pit road, it is a very long pit road. We have to enter off of turn 2, and in fact that's why we didn't go from a stop at the very start of the video. We did a rolling start to start things off, because we had to do a full pace lap, because if you did not do a full pace lap, the pace car would not leave the track as it started past the pit wall divider, and that just made the AI freak out and wonder what exactly was going on and why the pace car was still on the track during the green flag. So I didn't want to put you through a whole pace lap to get up to speed. So next week we'll be on a track we've run before, and we can do our routine. And I will say it's come to my attention here recently that the Splash and Go website that was hosting the 2018 and the 2019 mod has either let their bill lapse or something happen, or they shut it down due to not enough ad revenue or something. But that website is no more, and I do not think I can legally host this car set and mod on a Google Drive for reproduction, as it's not my mod to host. So hopefully they get that website straightened out. They can get the 2018 and 2019 mod back up online as the rightful owners of the mod, and you all can download it if you're just now learning about it. If not, perhaps when 2020 comes around, there will be another group of mod makers that can host it. Maybe Black Hole Motorsports or something of that nature, or just someone who does host the 2020 mod on their Google Drive. I'm not sure. But we did make the pass on Jimmy Johnson, looking strong for Brad Keselowski here, seeing if we can reel him in. And Brandon has a healthy lead out front. I wonder if we're going to catch lap traffic. The cars here are pretty diverse as far as their speed goes. I don't think that the back markers are keeping up with the main pack. I think this lead pack that you see that we're in has stretched it out, and we'll start running into guys like Jeffrey Earnhardt, Landon Castle, David Reagan here shortly. And indeed, I do see out of the windshield now, probably exiting turn 4 and crossing the start-finish line, is a lapped car. So things may get a little bit hairy and a little bit interesting as we click these laps off. Just trying to get that run off of turn 4 and get a decent turn 1 entry. We can de-wedge the car just a little bit, get the left side tires just below the yellow line, and it looks like just one car, probably Ross Chastain from the look of it, and Brandon may not have any problem getting around him as he is alone. We're going to try to roll the top, see if we can carry that momentum. He'll take the dog leg, but we'll keep our fender up. Nope, we're going to try a crossover here, and he's going to block just low enough that we don't want to bonsai and wash up. So we'll stay behind Brad, see if we can get him inside turn 3, and that black car of Ross Chastain is coming more and more into view. And yeah, we nailed turn 3 right there. A lot of grip on the bottom. We can pick up the throttle, and Brad blocks us all the way down to the dog leg and beyond. Holy crap. I mean, this is for second, and if we take out Brad, that ends his championship hopes. So I can understand why Brad wants to fight for every spot. It's going to come down to just a few positions, I think, and Brad is very aggressive here. I don't know how aggressive we want to be, but we'll roll that bottom. Hopefully we can clear him or at least get beside him in the dog leg. Brandon has no problem passing Ross Chastain going into 1. So then we may reel him in and get set up enough that we can put Brad up top behind Ross and see if we can use Ross as the proverbial pick. Good run out of turn 2. As long as we get that inside yellow line of turn 3, we'll be able to roll it. And indeed we can. There's that damage from Brad's rear bumper from when he just laid into us on lap 1. And I don't know if he's having any heating issues or if maybe there's a radiator getting set to fail, but Brad is pushing hard, just as we are. I know Brad doesn't want to lose that spot to Jimmy Johnson back there. I want to get around Ross Chastain as cleanly as possible here. And I don't know if we can start reeling in Brandon, if he's saving his tires or if he is burning them up, what his pace is. We'll just have to get that figured out when we get around this car. And we should be able to clear him going into turn 3 just fine. We get that bite off of turn 2, pick up the throttle. Brandon will get to Jeffrey Earnhardt next, and indeed we can get beside the 15, and back he goes. Have fun with Brad Keselowski there, Ross. Nice to see ya. All right, another lap in the books. Brandon may catch the 33 of Jeffrey Earnhardt in a few laps' time. If Brad struggles to get around the 15 here, Jimmy may be able to make that pass for third, and Brad Keselowski goes low. It looks like they're pitting. Now, looking at my last fuel estimates, we did not need to pit for fuel, but the yellow flag is now out. We will take the caution. It wasn't myself or Brandon, so we pin the 15 of Ross Chastain a lap down, and we'll get him re-racked and be right back with you. Pace car is off, engine is cooled down, tires are cooled off, and we've got some new players behind us. We're right behind Brandon, but right behind us is the 88 of Alex Bowman. So we'll see if Bowman hangs on. We're getting to the Monster Energy Ultraviolet restart zone. Less than a handful of laps left, and we are down and away, and already they were 2 and 3 wide down on the apron. So this is our chance to see exactly how much we compare to Brandon. He got the whole shot on us on the start. We got a much better turn 2 than Brandon right down the back stretch. Let's make sure we hit that turn 3. Brandon was a little high. He's not going to be able to get the power down. We're going to get to his inside. 1 lap to go here at Phoenix. Brandon's still up top, fighting back hard on that high side, going for 3 in a row. We dive in deep. Brandon packs it into turn 2. Side by side, Brandon washes out a bit, goes for the crossover. Yellow flag is out, but we're coming to the checkers. All the way to the hot dog stand we go. Brandon did not turn us, though, luckily, and he is right on our back bumper, gets into us just a little bit, and Brandon is around, but the checkered flag falls for us. I don't know if Brandon is going to get back for second place, but he already had his spot assured, and Bubba Wallace gets into by the 18 of Kyle Busch after the race was over. I guess Kyle didn't like the lap traffic being in his way, but Kyle does not care. He's going for Jeffrey Earnhardt too. So apparently Kyle Busch is pretty amped up. I don't exactly know what all that's about, but let's take a look at your top 10 finishers here at Phoenix. First of all, we finished in first. Kyle Larson ended up finishing in second with a damaged race car. Kevin Harvick third. Brad Keselowski fourth. Brandon comes across the line in fifth. Sixth place, Eric Jones. Seventh place, Denny Hamlin. Eighth place, Matt DiBenedetto bringing it home. Ninth place, Jimmy Johnson. And rounding out your top 10 is Martin Truex Jr. Let's take a look at your playoff drivers by number. Brad Keselowski with a strong run in fourth. Eric Almirola does not finish. He only completed 27 laps and finishes in 35th place. Denny Hamlin comes across the line in 7th. Ryan Blaney across in 24th, 1 lap down. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. having a race to forget in 17th. Kyle Busch comes across the line in 20th. Brandon comes across the line in 5th. And closing it out, we took the win. Let's take a look at what brought out that first caution flag. We were green up until right about where? Let's keep an eye out for the caution lights. I think we were actually coming around turn 4 whenever the caution was to come out. There we go. Let's scale forward here and see exactly what the issue was. Well, that's not a sight you like to see. Eric Almirola nose deep in the tire barrier. Looks like he was coming down out of 7th to get to pit road. Was someone else involved? Kyle Busch goes to the outside. Almirola just plows into the center wall. And Kurt Busch joins him right there, and that ended Eric Almirola's day. Pace car comes on out, and so I think that was the only people involved in that first crash, but then the yellow flag came out on the last lap. So green flag in the air, everyone fans out. Austin Dillon must have a problem because he is up top and slow and decides he wants to come down to pit road right now. Hamlin takes him out, and it is a bottleneck cluster behind William Byron, gets shoved up by Joey Logano, and it is just Austin Dillon clogging up the drain and nowhere for any of these guys to go except maybe topside. But that is just a parking lot in the far end. Poor Byron back in 20th couldn't avoid it. Now, they could have gone to the top, granted, but yeah, Suarez didn't slow down, pops Logano, pops Byron, Newman goes out, and then Kyle Busch does some Days of Thunder stuff. Change my tires. I don't know what for, Cole, it's over. Change my tires. Wom, wom, wom. And then, dan it, chicka, 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 dan it. And bam! Kyle Busch takes out Bubba Wallace after coming down pit road. And that was the incident that we saw. Don't know why Kyle was so upset, but we'll see how that reflects in the point standings, finishing 20th. So the standings are as follows. Kyle Busch is your cut-off driver and final driver to get into the round of 4. Just 2 positions over Brad Keselowski, 18 back to Ryan Blaney, 21 back to Almirola, 30 back to Stenhouse. But just 6 positions separate the cutoff. So your final 4 for next week at Homestead will be Brandon, myself, and the Gibbs boys of Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch. With 1 race to go, it's essentially winner take all between those 4 drivers. But that will do it for me. Like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next NASCAR Racing 2003 season video where we close out the year. Take care.